Hey everyone, welcome to the West Dakota Dad. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have the time and are able to do so, like, subscribe, share with your friends, comment, whatever it is. It really helps me to reach out to more and more people. And of course, I'm a grateful person for that. Today we are going to be talking about injuries. Okay. I had one relatively recent that kind of made me think about a certain story story in the Bible. So therefore I was like, all right, let's do this. So here we are. So I'm going to take you, for starters, through my list of injuries that I remember. Okay. Starting in my early years, when your injuries were probably great, but since you were so young, you kind of bounce back from them. Whereas if those injuries happen to you now, you'd be out for a little bit. But starting in 5th grade, I had a trampoline. This wasn't like one of those round trampolines. This was a big rectangular one that my dad had bought at a garage sale that had these massive springs on it. And man, you could get some serious air on them. And I was on it all the time. I was a daredevil. I would do all sorts of different flips and tricks. Sometimes I'd get like a little mini bike on it, try to do like just whatever it was. I was in love with getting airborne. So one time when I was supposed to be studying for a history test, I was out on the trampoline and I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to have a cool new trick for my friends. This is going to be one of those ones where it's like the finishing move, okay? So instead of doing, did all my front flips, back flips, whatever on the trampoline. Well, this time I was going to actually jump off the trampoline, do a front flip and land it and just walk away like, they do in the movies, like no big deal. Explosions happen behind, doves fly out, whatever. That's kind of what I had it pictured in my mind anyways. So now I was used to doing front flips on the trampoline, but I was also used to landing on the trampoline. See, therefore, when you jump off the trampoline, you have another 3.5, 4 feet to drop. And if you do a front flip and you spin too fast and too early, you're not going to be able to open up and land straight up and down. You're going to overcorrect and you're going to crash and burn, which is exactly what happened. I ended up landing on my arm. I broke it. I knew something was wrong. I had no idea it was broken. So I ran inside real quick and I opened up my history book and started studying. My dad got home and he's like, "What's happened?" Because I had tears just running down my face, sweating and everything. And I was just like, "I don't know, my arm just started hurting." Kids trying to just, lie through their teeth and hope they can't see right through it. My dad had no idea what was going on. I actually think he just ran down to the gas station or something and came back. Like, so he was like, okay. And I was like, I can't move my wrist. And it's all swollen and everything. Well, we ended up going to the doctor. Said it was broken. Got a cast. Pretty sure mom was probably ticked off. But hey, what do you do though? Kids, am I right? Moving on from that, I don't ever remember any other big injuries until I got to about high school. Freshman year, okay, this wasn't an injury that I had, but I had caused it, so I figured I might mention it. So my buddy one of my best friends had his nose broken like many times. Well, I'm pretty sure I was the 3rd, maybe 4th time. See, we were in basketball and I was trying to do a little juke on him, and as I did it, my head came up and went right into his nose, and I ended up like stopping, like, oh, I knew that had to hurt because I just, I felt it on my head. And the coach was like, "Why are you stopping?" I was just like, I don't know, just confused. Yeah, I never played basketball after freshman year. So, yeah, I felt bad about that one for sure. And then my junior year, we had a little pickup game of basketball, not sanctioned with the school or anything, but we were down at the gym and I was going down for a fast break and I heard someone say, "Dunk it." And I was like, okay, yeah, I had the adrenaline pumping and everything. And I was always a big jumper, probably due to all the years I was on the trampoline and everything. Went up, one hand, I can't really say I palmed it, but the momentum kind of kept it in my hand. And I went up to go dunk it. And I was like just an inch or two short. Is the closest I had ever come to dunking it. Well, I got stuffed by the rim, and as I was falling backwards, I ended up falling on my arm fully extended and hyperextended it. Didn't break anything, but I felt a shoot go straight up my arm. I was no longer able to use my arm to dribble the ball, so I'm pretty sure I was done there. Tricep has never been the same since then. But I did end up, just bouncing back after a few weeks of, rehabilitation at the school and everything. So, yeah, now would not be a good time to do something like that. My senior year, I ended up breaking my leg and separating my shoulder. It was our last football game of the season. I can't remember if I think it was the playoffs. And we were versing just a stout of a team, getting our butts kicked. There was no way we were going to win, but we at least wanted to get on the board. And the guy I was blocking got to the inside of me, so I chased him down. Well, our running back ended up getting tripped up and was kind of doing, trying to keep his balance, but dove forward right into my leg, flipped upside down, landed on my shoulder. And I knew something was wrong. I didn't get up right away. I just felt a bunch of heat to my leg. And, adrenaline pumping and everything. I thought I just had a bad cramp. They were, massaging it. We taped it up a couple times. I at least wanted to finish the game. Didn't happen. And then, of course, when we were done and the adrenaline wore off, something was serious happened. I was like, yep, it's broken. And this is going to sound like a total old-timer saying everything, but I had to walk back to the locker room, which was, I kid you not, at least a quarter mile, if not more, uphill late in the football season. So it was cold. And it took me like probably 20, 30 minutes to walk up that because no one knew what was wrong. I see the other team just kind of giggling as they take the little stretcher cart, just joy riding it back up there. I'm just like, oh, that'd be nice to sit on. But, yeah, so there's that one. When I was weightlifting in college, that was probably my biggest hobby because I didn't really know what else to do. And I was going pretty heavy on the flies. Well, I felt something pop in my chest. Went to the walking clinic. They said I had popped cartilage out. Again, I don't know if it's technical. That's just what they told me. And so ever since then, I really haven't done anything with bench or anything like that. It's back in. It's pretty much healed, but my chest is, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty weak. I don't really care for how much I can bench. I'm just kind of a push-up guy or maybe some dumbbells here and there. Tendonitis in my shoulder from volleyball and also shin splints from volleyball. I mean, I'd be playing volleyball at least 3 nights a week up until I was about like 24 years old or so. So all these injuries that I just listed have really cool stories. It makes me sound tough. It makes me sound adventurous. And then I'm about to tell you my 2, I guess, most recent injuries that aren't cool stories, that do not make me sound tough. It just makes me sound unfortunate, I should say. So when I was about 23-ish years old, maybe 24, I can't remember, I was at work and it was early morning. I had just put all my tools in the work truck, and I was walking back to my truck to go grab, I don't know, my water or coffee, whatever it was. Flat surface, no rocks, nothing in my hands, no dancing, prancing, anything like that. I was walking, perfectly normal. And my knee popped out of place. It must have popped right back into place, and I went down. I could not walk on my leg at foot, wherever that knee was. I was unable to walk and put any pressure on it. So yeah, really lame. I ended up going in and they said, well, nothing's torn, no ligaments, no ACL, MCL, PCL, anything like that. No, none of those are torn. I honestly think that your knee just popped out and popped right back in, or as they would say, patella dislocation, whatever that was, the actual terms of it. So there's that. And then now I have my most recent injury, which I don't know if you can really consider it an injury, but it happened. Again, walking this time. Again. And I was going to my pickup after work. And I was walking past the metal bin. A gust of wind came up. Gravel parking lot. something hit my eye. I was wearing safety glasses too. Something hit my eye and I was just like, ow, oh, that kind of hurt, So I'm just thinking eyelash or maybe a piece of dirt. I don't know. And so I didn't really think anything of it. Didn't hurt too bad then. As the night went on, my eye still hurt anytime I looked a certain way. I was like, man, there's something in there. Had my wife check, nothing. I tried doing a rinse, nothing. And so I was like, well, if I sleep it off, it'll dissolve overnight if it's dirt. Woke up next morning, holy mackerel. Yeah, my eye was in pain. I drove to work with my hand over my eye. I could not see. I had to basically kind of look down. It was affecting my work. I finally was like, you know what? I went to safety. I said, hey, this is what happened. I reported it. They said, good job at reporting, whatever. They got me an eye appointment. And when we tried doing another rinse again, he looked in my eye. He wasn't sure. So we got an eye appointment. I went in to the optometrist there. He looks in my eye and he goes, oh, you got a piece of metal in your eye. I was like, no kidding. Just, again, not a cool story at all. Not that all injuries have to have a cool story, but, no big news, but severely inconvenient for me. Now, it was really funny because when he was going to remove this, I had no idea. Obviously, it had to be small, but I had no idea how it was going to happen, what anything was. So he's like, all right, I'm going to rest. He gave me some numbing eye drops. He's like, all right, look that way. And I'm going to rest my hand right on your cheekbone, and we're done. That's it. Man, I could move every which way. Granted, the numbing eye drops were still working, but I was like, that is relief. Instantly. Kind of made me think of like back in the gospel when you get Jesus healing everybody, like the blind man, just touching people, or just even saying the words, like Lazarus, get up, rises a man from the dead, heals a blind man, heals the leper, heals the woman that just touches his cloth of his garments, whatever. Like, not that my eye injury was anything like the severity of what they were going through, but I could at least relate on a very minor scale of what just feeling a very basic touch and instant relief was like. Not saying that my optometrist is Jesus. Jesus and the Lord was probably working through him, but yeah, it was just amazing. And then, of course, it made me think of how one eye, as small as a proportion that is to the rest of my body to keep this body functioning, man, my whole body noticed when my one eye was not working, was in pain. My whole body noticed it. It affected the entire way. I wasn't even able to work because of my one eye. And so, I'm going to read for you guys the passage today, which comes from 1 Corinthians chapter 12, starting with verse 12. One body with many parts. I think I have read this before in one of my previous episodes, but I'm going to go ahead and read it again because it's really good. So starting with verse 12. The human body has many parts, but the many parts make up one whole body. So it is with one... Hold on. I better just use my finger to follow along here. So it is with the body of Christ. Some of us are Jews, some of us are Gentiles, some of us are slaves, and some are free, but we all have been baptized into one body by one Spirit, and we all share the same Spirit. Yes, the body has many different parts, not just one part. If a foot says, I am not a part of the body because I am not a hand, that does not make it any less of a part of the body. And if an ear says, I am not part of the body because I am not an eye, would that make it any less part of the body? If the whole body were an eye, how would you hear? Or if the whole body were an ear, how would you smell anything? But our bodies have many parts, and God has put each part just where he wants it. How strange would the body be if it had only one part? Yes, there are many parts, but only one body. The eye can never say to the hand, I do not need you. The head can't say to the feet, I don't need you. In fact, some parts of the body that seem weakest and least important are actually the most necessary, and the parts we regard as less honorable are those we clothe with the greatest care. So we carefully protect those parts that should not be seen, while the more honorable parts do not require this special care. So God has put the body together such that extra honor and care are given to those parts that have less dignity. This makes for harmony among the members, so that all members care for each other. If one part suffers, all the parts suffer with it. And if one part is honored, all the parts are glad. All of you together are Christ's body, and each of you is part of it. Great message there. Like I said, I've said it before, I think when I was talking about when people build a house and everything. But you think about it, okay? Like I said, when my eye was down, it affected, it maybe didn't have as much effect as like maybe on my knees or my feet or my hands, because those could just perfectly function just right. Now, I wouldn't be able to see where I was going, so it did have some effect to them. It mostly had an effect on my head. I had to keep my head down. I couldn't really lift up. Light was sensitive. So therefore, my eye was important. The whole body noticed. The whole body had to react differently because of it. When I broke my leg, it didn't affect anything with my eye. But I did have to walk differently to get around. So therefore, think about it. In a community, if there's a fire, even though it's not your house, it's somebody's house. And I bet you glad that those people are glad that we have firefighters. Okay? Firefighters are a different part of the body than, say, somebody else. So, in a sense, it might not be important to you, but it's important to someone. Eventually, it might be important to you. So, God has given us all different skills, talents in life to help us make up this one awesome body in Christ. And I think it's a really neat message in the Bible here. It's really weird if I just talk about, the firefighter part of the body. You know what I'm saying? In the Bible, but it definitely puts it into way better terms than I could. But I just thought that was something really important. If you are feeling like you are not important, you are important to someone. Eventually, you might be more important to another person. But you are always important. If you are part of the body, which you all are welcome to be, you are important. That's what I had for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it. It's kind of a long-winded one here, but I hope you guys have a great week. Like I said, share with your friends. It really helps me out. Until next time, I'm the West Dakota Dad. Have a fantastic week.